Hey everyone, it's Mindrolling, and I'm Raghu Markus, back with Dakota Wint, Dakota of the Earth, Dakota. He's got so many things going on. Hi, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
So we're, well, now we're kind of old friends.
Yeah, 10 years almost.
Yeah.
Next year will be 10 years.
Yeah.
Actually, it is probably 10 years because it was 10 years since we went in India next year, and we met before India, so.
Yeah, we met here. Yeah. We met here in
Ohio.
Ohio. Yeah, right, at Hanuman Gardens, yeah. So, well, first off, we want to congratulate you on joining the Be Here Now podcast network with the show is called...
The Flowerhead Show is what I called it.
Thank
you. It's been fun so far. Only one episode, but I'm excited so far with how people are responding and
yeah. No, a lot of people are responding. Nice audience. Dakota and I were just in India together in the fall, a few months ago, and in Rishikesh. And just, I don't know why start with this, just in terms of something I found really interesting, and it was a bit of a discovery for me, actually, which is that you had your friend and teacher join you and another fellow, Tom, and at Krishna Das's benefit kirtans in Rishikesh. And
yeah, it's very funny.
Yeah, I mean, it's unusual. So, okay, you want to, I'll leave it to you, or I can add into it. So this sadhu is an agora. We should explain what is an agora sadhu in India.
Okay, I can give the little elevator pitch. So typically the sensationalized version of the agoras, or what we see on like Facebook or YouTube, is that they're in the cremation grounds in the ash with the skulls and meditating on dead bodies sometimes. And sometimes they say they eat the bodies. So my experience really spending time with the aghoris, there's levels, there's like the Kashi aghoris that are there for the pictures and really playing the costume role. And then there's like the aghori that are kind of like Bavani and some of the people I kind of met in the ashram where he stays. And they're very just kind of like normal sadhus. They wear all white. They don't do the ash. And they have a kind of different perspective as in the cremation ground style. So Bavani, I've actually watched him kind of go through this process of trying to learn his own path. So I've seen him in his cremation phase, and I've seen him also in this phase. And I watched him go through the cremation phase and then tell me like that's not what it is. It's not found there. So that's like an interesting thing to be kind of around him long enough to see him go through his own process. But yeah, so we were all in Rishikesh, excited to come to see Krishna Das, and they're all excited to meet you. Bavani was, and it was such a journey to get across the river from the other side of Rishikesh all the way to where Krishna Das's thing was. There was traffic, I think, for the concert itself.
Oh God!
For like backed up for I don't know an hour. So we had to like take the ferry across the river and hike up a hill, and we're trying so hard to get a tuk-tuk, no tuk-tuks, like calling a taxi, but too much. So anyways, we're trying to get to the concert. We're almost in the middle of it at this point by the time we get there. And I guess Arjun, the tabla player, had put us on the guest list. So we get there and they kind of give us the VIP service, give us our wristbands and walk us up to the side of the stage, basically. And the security we have the wrong wristbands. They gave us the wrong color, so they kick us out. So me and Bavani were like, whatever, we'll just sit in the back and just enjoy it. And then Arjun sees us and he starts like, get these, while he's playing, he's like doing hand motions, like, get them over closer to the stage. So I'm like getting embarrassed because a scene happening. So there's people dragging me and Bavani and Tom to the front, and there's no room in the front. So we're like, it's okay, we'll just stand here. Then these guys pull out a mattress and put it right in the front of the front row. So we're like, like in the front of the front stage. And I'm just like, oh my God, all the crowd, we're standing in front of everyone.
Who are these people?
Yeah, and Nina's like, I can see Nina's face starting to change. I'm like, oh my God, please just let us sit down. But anyways, that was that was Bavani's
Your
introduction
entrance.
to getting to see Krishnadas, basically.
Oh my!
And he's such like a kind of timid, shy guy. This is big, all this commotion and stuff is a very funny situation.
So now we have also on the Be Here Now network, podcast network, Robert Svoboda, who had encountered his guru in the 70s, not long, around the same time, a little later than we, Krishnadas and I, Ramdas, were in India, and with Maharaji. And he wrote a trilogy around Aghora. His guru was an Aghori. And
He was there before you guys were there?
No, after.
Okay.
Yeah, just after, though. And I loved these books. I mean, some of it was the outlandish part, which you're speaking to, that wasn't what was going on with Bavani. And, so it's kind of fun, entertaining, very much so.
I read the first one. It's got very vivid, sensational gore descriptions. I remember there's one that's pulling the body of a person from the Ganga and building a candle in her mouth, and the real occult side of Hinduism.
But I had met Robert and so on. Krishnadas was.
He was at the concert. Remember, we saw him walk by.
Yeah, right. Yeah. I trusted him that this person he met, and from what I gathered by reading the books, that whatever it was, it's real. Okay, his thing was absolutely substantial and real. He wasn't doing it for any cause, except whatever he could do to help anybody. And yet, it had all of the craziest part of the Agora practice, sitting on dead bodies, the whole thing. And he, as you just said, he described them in detail, and some of it was like, holy Jesus God. And of course, then I reflect on what happened to us, and we were these little hippie babies, right? Who Maharaji fed and and loved, and that was the end of that. There wasn't anything going on whatsoever. So which just shows you there is something for everybody. Everybody gets what they need in the particular way that will help awaken them. And this I love your describe a little bit about your relationship with Bavani.
Well, I can tell you kind of this first time I met him. I was traveling with this kind of circus of aghoris, where they were kind of going from temple to temple doing these animal sacrifices, and they collect donations, and then they move to the next place. And it's kind of like this, Facebook live streaming performance. And it was very interesting as a person like myself that's just interested in kind of being immersed in crazy cultures. But at the end of the day, like spending a lot of time with them, I could see how it was working. It's not like a genuine sadhana that they're doing. It was about collecting donations. And so we were opening this Kali temple outside of Hyderabad, and it's in a village, and it's kind of like this dusty looking old Western village with like, the tumbleweed blowing type of vibe. And you have all the villagers like barefoot and the ankle bracelets and big starry eyes at these aghoris with, acting crazy. And they're preparing to open the temple and put the murti there, and I guess like give it to life by sacrificing this buffalo. So they have the buffalo chained out outside, and they're preparing the whole ceremony. And they kind of are walking me around like the token foreign Aghori. They got me all painted up, and they have me taking selfies, and it makes this Baba look kind of, I don't know, like a big Baba to have an American with him to the villagers. And so, I'm all dressed up, and they got me right in the center of the ceremony, doing all the crazy, playing the damru. And they bring this baby buffalo in to be sacrificed. And this is like when the whole vibe kind of changed for me, where it stopped being kind of like just this fun little quirky thing I'm participating in, because they were not even aware an ounce, or like less than an ounce. They were not paying attention to the sacrifice that they were about to make. They were taking selfies and giggling, and it was just like being in a hellish detention center or something. Can't even explain it, but I felt so bad that this buffalo was about to be killed just for this kind of theater for these villagers. And I
Wow.
just was like, I'm not gonna really participate in this. These guys are so unconscious of what they're doing. Like, it's almost offensive to even consider this an offering. So I just sat in the middle of the temple, and I was just like, I'm gonna pray for this buffalo while it gets killed, because no one else is paying attention to it in that way. So I sat there, and I would just close my eyes. I look ridiculous. I have like this little red thong on, and I'm in the ash. And one of the little aghoris, I can hear them like taking pictures of me and laughing. And one of them walks up to me and he goes, "What are you doing?" And I said, "I'm praying." And he goes, "This is not how you pray." And they all start laughing at me. The whole temple, it was like something out of a movie or something. I was just like,
Wow.
and I just closed my eyes and I was like, you guys, whatever, if that's how you think, now in retrospect, I bow to that guy's performance for really teaching me what real prayer is, by showing me what it's not,
No, yeah. Oh, wow. That's
And I just kind of was like really fed up with this whole situation. So I go outside, and it's like a typical kind of mela with like it's got a tent set up and some kind of handicrafted board so you can sleep on it. And there's like a guy sitting in the corner in the darkness, and I just go over there and sit next to him. And that happens to be Bavani.
oh.
And I talk to him, and he leans in, he goes, "This is not real, right?"
He said that.
He said that to me.
Wow.
And I was like, "Yeah, I know." And I ended up just hanging out with him for the next few days after that. And I don't know. It's weird because at this moment, I was like, I don't even think these sadhu figures are real. These are just like kind of myths. I've looked so far in India, the depths of anywhere I can go, Varanasi, the mountains. I've looked everywhere, and like the stories that you guys explain, I can't find these. I can't find these real beings that are like illuminating light to where my mind quiets just from seeing them. And I looked for it, but I don't know. It's funny that like right when I was giving up and I go to sit out there, I can't even exactly remember what Bavani was talking about. Just saying the same kind of stuff any sadhu will say, like all the regurgitations that you hear a million times. But like when he would say it, I could feel what he was saying. It was almost like his words would create an experience. And this is the first time I ever had felt that. It was almost like I had to like station myself onto the ground, because I was like, what is happening? Like when he would talk, he would say something about oneness, and it wouldn't be a word, it would be an experience. And it's because I think he's there. So when he says it, he's saying it with such confidence and clarity in what he's saying that it's just like, I believe you. I could see it in you.
Experiential.
Yeah, and I can't even explain that. It sounds like some voodoo, to a normal person. But and yeah, that's pretty much the start of how I met him. And then I've just kind of been following him around every chance I get when I'm in India. Sometimes he doesn't let me. Right now he's MIA. I don't know where he's at or what he's doing. He's giving me the silent treatment for like 2 months. So I don't ever know what's going on.
So everybody listening, this is one aspect of Dakota's curiosity, and it has manifested over these years since I guess since I met you. In the last 10 years, it's really grown into this curiosity about other cultures, and particularly ones that are off the grid, shall we say. Talk about that a little bit. I know, we've talked and you've recounted some of the experiences, but I think everybody would love to hear a little bit more.
I've just been trying to find something that is like when we were in Rishikesh, we were talking about faith. And that has been such a big thing for me, like, because it just sounds stupid, faith in what? You're gonna have you want me to have faith in something that there's no evidence for and no proof for. You just are asking this of me. This is that's a ridiculous request. Have faith in this thing. So I began having little tidbits of seeing behind the veil. And that led me to just seeing like, okay, I took mushrooms and that gave me a vision that was like, oh, wow, there's something else beyond my normal perception. Then I discover, okay, people in Mexico are doing this. So I went to Mexico, and then a little bit more opens, okay, there's a whole world I didn't know about, a whole state of consciousness that people have known about for a long time and developed systems and sciences and spiritual practices around. So now this whole new world becomes open in that sense. Then I get introduced to India. And then, I'm just kind of chasing these little tidbits of information I'm finding and just trying to, I don't know exactly what it is I'm looking for. I guess God. I don't know. That's a ridiculous thing to say too, but I guess that's what it is. And yeah, it's led me into some crazy situations in the Amazon, having shamans like suck on my neck and pull thorns out of it with their magic.
I didn't hear that one. I didn't hear that one. What?
Papua New Guinea, we were hanging out with cannibals just like 3 months ago. Yeah, I don't know. I'm just trying to figure out like, what is spirituality? What are the limits of it? How does it express itself? Are we all talking about the same thing? And what can you show me? I go to these places that have these big practices. What do you have to offer if you think it's real? Especially like in India where all these gurus make these big claims. What can you show me? And that's kind of just been what I've been asking myself and anyone I meet.
It begs this topic that's very much connected with Ram Dass, and I don't even know if I showed you. We had his first posthumous book came out at the end of last year, the end of 25. It is called There Is No Other. And it's about transforming the us and the them. I did a podcast with somebody who really is trying to marry really his practice, marry his path as a seeker to also being aware of being active in whatever way he felt deeply that he was called to do in relation to anything, the environment, the political situation, whatever it may be. And I just, I wanted to, I'm just going to quote this guy, okay? Because it leads me to think about your particular experiences in so many different, across the globe, basically, right? So this guy, many of us are committed to using practices within our movements because we have some sense they can bring about healing and transformation. But when it comes to organizing protests, demonstration, direct actions to address systemic power, we turn to tactics that create a clear division between quote-unquote us and quote-unquote them, and begin shaming, name-calling, and trying to beat them into submission, right? We don't make the connections that when we use tactics grounded in the us versus them a worldview with a desire to shame and punish, we use the frameworks as the foundation of the carceral systems of justice. Carceral. I don't really know that word, but I guess we're organizing against. And I bring this up because we are all looking for ways to transform our basically our polarity, and that's not just the polarity of the external world, but it's the polarity inside ourselves. I mean, when anybody asks me what was it like with Neem Karoli Baba, aside from, of course, home, feeling of home and unconditional love and all that Ram Dass talked about, it was the total knowing that there wasn't any polarity. This being was not a me and we were us. It was not happening at all like that. That's an extraordinary experience. He was human. You know, I mean, it's possible. It is possible. So how I tie this thing with your stories and so on is the way in which you see the universality of all beings. I mean, that had to be a big part of it. Not to mention, you know, a little psychedelic here and there that helps enhance that. But what do you think?
You're saying that I see that?
Yeah, you're going around and you're meeting people directly from completely different cultures.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you definitely get to see that people are people and that we are all kind of chasing the same kind of things, and it just kind of expresses itself based on our circumstances. But yeah, I mean, there's definitely, we are all in the same boat, is what I'm seeing.
Yeah, from the cannibal tribe onward.
In some
What
way,
the hell
yeah.
was that about? I mean, that sounds so like.
Yeah, it is pretty crazy. Those guys, like, respectfully, are kind of still living in the Stone Age. It seems like they're still naked and they're
Never
fighting
mind the
with.
Stone Age, but the cannibalism. It doesn't matter if
Well,
it's Stone Age.
the
I mean,
Christians made it illegal, so it doesn't happen as much anymore.
Yeah, the Christians. Oh. So, oh, by the way, everybody, Dakota had, you know, so when he goes into these different cultures, he shoots video of it.
Yeah.
And he's with somebody and then it includes his own interactions. And you've done some sketchy shit, man. I mean,
Yeah.
really.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Tell him about it.
Let me think. Let's think of some of the sketchy stuff. I mean, the cannibal one's pretty crazy. Papua in general is pretty crazy in Papua New Guinea because this is like, most people don't even know what that is.
Yeah.
And this is one of the last frontiers of the planet. You know, this is where humans are still living as humans without ever really have interaction with the outside world. The missionaries just arrived a generation ago. So a lot of these people still have very interesting superstitions, like eating the warrior that they kill. And, you know, they think you kind of consume the power of the person that you eat.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, that's one thing. You know, hanging out in the cremation grounds. It doesn't sound so crazy these days, but hanging out in the cremation grounds in India. Yeah, hanging out in the Amazon. I stayed in the Amazon for not a long time, but maybe 2 months.
Oh, yeah.
And was staying with some shamans there, doing ayahuasca and really going to try to learn about what they got going on there, the kind of magic that they're doing with the plants. Learned a lot there. But ultimately, I don't know, like, now that I've done so much of this extreme seeking, I've lived like lifetimes for one life. I feel like, yeah, I don't know. It's just so obvious that you don't need to go anywhere. And like, sometimes you feel you need to do that to realize that, but it's just like taking psychedelics or something. Like I was confusing the psychedelics as being the meaning instead of what they were doing was revealing meaning, but I applied the meaning to the psychedelic. This is my practice, you know, this thing is giving it to me. And now it just feels like, man, I can see it now. So it is here now, you know. You don't need to take some psychedelic or travel somewhere, but you know, we are human beings and have fun while we're here on the planet. Should explore and have fun. But if we're like chasing spiritual truth and pursuit, there's really nothing that needs to be done. And I thought it was the opposite. I thought I had to hike a mountain.
Well, we all do, especially from well, no, west and east people.
Yeah,
really set formidable objectives.
it's a big trick.
Which is all it becomes about accomplishment, and you know, so
It's a big trick.
It includes, you know, our
because it's really the
little
opposite
me.
It's the complete opposite of that. It's not about accomplishing anything. Actually, it's about releasing that there is even something to accomplish. So it's such a paradox because, you know, we feel like we're humans. We get hungry. We have these impulses. So it feels like, you know, we're leading towards something. Oh, I got to get my food. So you work towards getting the food, and it just creates this whole entanglement of just, you know, I guess they call Maya. but just the shit.
The shit is right. So when you mentioned it before, when we just sat and recorded some stuff in Rishikesh, and I guess it was top of your mind because you brought it up about faith and what that is, and you just said faith in what? What's the substance?
Mm-hmm.
And when Ram Dass first came back from India, I mention this a lot because it's so pertinent. He said, well, there are some things I can't talk about. And all he was doing was talking about yogic path and whatever he had learned from his yoga teacher and so on and so forth. But gee, we can't talk. Well, guru's pretty tough. Surrender, probably very top of the page, right? Devotion is bad too, What, we're going to give all our shit up to something or somebody? What, it was the opposite of how we were brought up in the West, particularly. So Ram Dass would go through this whole routine of saying, we don't understand the true meaning of these words. And since then, this was him in the late 60s, since then it's become way crazier. The guru particularly, everybody's a guru of some sort.
Yeah.
The dry cleaner's a guru. And they do it in India too. Yeah. Every shop has the Guru Ram Dass sewing shop. It's all kind of, so. The way in which these definitions have reset our, and I mean that in a very general sense, cultural understanding is so difficult, and I think people react.
Yeah. So you think like we're coming from our definitions are muddy, so that we're already starting from a bad starting point.
Yeah, well, muddy's one word to put it. Another way to put it is absolutely having no idea of what that really means. Yeah. Devotion, particularly. I mean, I went to India, and I had one of my first experiences was around just that subject. Pretty much, I guess, around how you went through what you went through, and that was meeting high being Swami and near Mumbai, and everybody's touching his feet, and I went to touch his feet because everybody's doing it. So I thought, okay, got to do it, and just was like, it was so far away from anything that, I mean, however you can say it, that I thought I should be doing, that I wanted to do, that was like, what in the hell are they doing? I was completely bamboozled by this. And then I saw Ram Dass. He wasn't there then, but he came that night at this ashram. And I told him my experience, and he said, I said, what the hell is this? He said, well, the light in you is honoring the light in this other being. If you have a problem, then this is good stuff to work with, right? So I said, okay, makes sense. Went back the next day, and then I was on my way actually to meet Neem Karoli Baba. And same thing happened. Absolutely no connectivity whatsoever. It was in my head. And I imagine in that moment, you had that moment in a bit of a different way. But in reality, I mean, we used to talk about this when we first met, right? Mm-hmm. Like, what, and then there's always the thing of people coming into it and seeing people like me who were there back when, and Krishnas and others, and feeling like, okay, well, we missed that boat. There's so many different reactions of, from what it was that people had a feeling of being connected. I mean, you definitely, when I first met you, I knew that you were connecting somehow. And then it took this, that's your journey there.
Mm-hmm. It's just starting, it feels like, which is the scary part, actually. But I know. I don't know what's happening. I'm pretty dissociated, It's just like, oh my God, when I look back, I don't know how anything is. It's just all unfolding, I'm almost like on a conveyor belt. It seems like just pointing at stuff as I go by.
Now you did, but in some of these journeys, like with with ayahuasca and the shaman, where was that? Was that in the Amazon?
That was in the Amazon, yeah. Maybe like 2 hours, 3 hours outside of Iquitos.
Oh yeah.
Just in some little spot. And yeah, I mean, their spirituality is different. They're not really doing this stuff for God. Like the Westerners go and take ayahuasca for spiritual purposes, and the shamans aren't really using it that way. I found out. Not that they use it to connect with the spirit world, but it's not like a spirit practice in the same way of a sadhana is. It's almost like an occult space. They're entering a spirit world and they're working with these spirits to heal you. It's all very like that, kind of Hogwarts. It's not really about like attaining peace or, this kind of spiritual practice. So their pursuit is something different than ours. And the thing is like Westerners have such a confusing idea of the definitions, or not having any idea of the definitions, and they go mixing all the different ideas of the cultures and applying it to like the ayahuasca experience, And yeah, like I said, I was confusing the meaning with the light, instead of I was confusing meaning with what I was being seen, with what I was seeing, but instead of just realizing that it's showing me that there is meaning in the world, like don't worry about the flashes and the visions, but it's very easy to get hypnotized and all that. It's like a big fireworks show, and it makes you feel very spiritual things. It gives you maybe an understanding of what these yogis are talking about when they say chakras and kundalini. Like, okay, now I have kind of maybe a reference point of even what that is. So that can make you think that you are progressing, like in some weird egotistical way. I guess I kind of thought like, because I was having those experiences, that I was progressing.
I like that.
But it's just, I'm just taking something, to think that I'm compare myself to like some sadhu that's doing this stuff naturally is kind of laughable in retrospect. But I really did believe that like I was achieving something by having those experiences. And now I just see like I was just, that's like kindergarten. It's like, yeah, you don't know any of this exists. So here, take this and shut up and just see it for a second. And, then I go back to my life, I wipe my drool, and, I'm not any different than I was a couple of days later, So now I'm just kind of, the mushroom told me one time, it told me, because I was having these realizations of the spiritual stuff, like, oh my God, I understand the oneness. It all makes sense. I get it. I understand God. But how do I keep this? Because when I sober up, how do I know this feeling? And it told me, all you need to do is remember. And if all I need to do is remember, then you don't need anything, That's what Maharaji also said.
Love to remember. That's so all simple. We got. That's
all I got too. And it took me, and I had to bang my head against the wall to get the message.
Yeah, right. Oh boy.
All you have to do is remember, and like, so if all I have to do is remember, if the mushroom is just or the psychedelic ayahuasca, if it's just showing me this truth, then that truth is there always. And it's actually better for me to realize that instead of relying on the substance to give me to be my memory rejuvenation. I should just know because it's here. And so yeah, that's what faith is just remembering whatever that mystery is. I don't even need to understand what it is, but the fact that I know that there is some big complex thing, eternity, whatever that is, Shiva, I know it's there, and I don't need to be blasted into the center of the universe to see that anymore because it's so obvious to me now. And that's all faith is, I think, is just what the mushroom said, is remember.
Yeah, Neem Karoli Baba said to Ram Dass after he gave him these huge doses, this is good for beginners. It's good in the beginning. It allows you to hang out with Christ for a few hours. That's how he put it. Same, whatever. And then you have to leave the room, he said. Ultimately, love everyone and feed everyone and tell the truth.
It's too simple, though.
Yeah, that's too simple, I know. But listen, here's one interesting thing in terms of you as a person, as a soul entity. So we were hammered over the head by this being and had our minds broken, that we could no longer think that our thoughts, our stories about ourselves, emotions, all of that was anything but illusion. We couldn't, I mean, it was proven in the moment. And you, who never met that being, although you've met him, and I wanted to talk about this too, community, which is a big part of the whole thing. And this flowering, if you want to call it.
Flowerheading.
There we are. That's it. Mm-hmm. Flowerhead. This what happened, and the evolvement, around understanding much more subtly the reality, in this case, about what psychedelic drugs are and what they can do and their use. You saw it in Technicolor. Mm-hmm. And then something switched because that connection was made. Mm-hmm. And then what you're saying is you saw that connection is available all the time.
Yeah.
Not that you get it, that you are in it all the time, but that's the purpose of this, 80, hopefully nice lifetime of work.
Mm-hmm.
No.
Well, because we gave DMT to Bavani Baba. I told you that story maybe, right?
Yeah,
I won't go through the whole thing.
No, tell it. It's great. I remember, but I don't remember the details, of course.
Okay, so we're in Varanasi on the opposite side of the river, and I'm with this Mexican shaman. His name is Jose, and he works with a medicine that comes from the Sonoran Desert of Mexico, a toad, and they pop the pimple on the toad, and a little juice comes out, and they smoke the juice, which is a form of DMT. It's called 5-MeO DMT. It's natural in the toad. And he was in India giving it to people. And I was telling Bavani Baba, yeah, I know you cover yourself in human ash and dead bodies and stuff, but I'm going to show you something that's going to really blow your mind. And we'll meet you in Varanasi. And I was trying to explain it to him, this is a chemical that's going to have a reaction and you're going to have an experience. So I was trying to prepare him, it's not just like ganja or something like that. And he didn't care. Yeah. Okay. And we were in Varanasi. You can see the smoke of Manikarnika there. And he's sitting there. He has his
burning guts. Yeah.
The burning guts. Yeah. And he's got these dreadlocks and he's wearing a beanie and it's on top of his dreadlocks. So he has a foot long beanie, just hovering on top of his head. And excuse me, I got an incense in here that's tried to set the vibe, so it's choking me out.
Another reflection of life.
And so, actually, I'm sitting right now on the blanket that he sat on while he went through his experience. It's under me right now. And this picture is actually him this is the beanie that he has on. This big old beanie. It goes up here past the picture. But in his hand, he's holding the 5-MeO DMT in this picture right here.
Oh yeah,
and that's him smiling.
That's so. Cool.
So I'm excited because I'm about to blow his mind. He doesn't know what we're doing, over in the West. This is the real deal stuff over here. No escaping it. When you smoke 5-MeO, you're in it. I tell him, Jose, don't be light on him. There's a sadhu, he can handle it. He smokes chillums, he knows what's up. So he gives him a big dose. The whole thing the pipe he lights is like a glass, so you can see the smoke inside of it. And I can see the pure white, milky cloud. So I knew it was, I knew. And Bavani's just sitting there very casually, And Jose puts it to his mouth and kind of prepares him just like he would with any ceremony. And he's got his little drum and he's singing in the indigenous language and all this stuff. And Bavani smokes it, clears it, holds it, blows it out. And now this is where most people collapse. You just fall and become a corpse. You can walk up and grab their arm and they don't even know what's going on. Completely out of body. Sometimes people drool, spit, cry, fling around. Not many people just sit there. So he's just sitting there and I'm like, okay, either it's not working or he's really just like deep in it. And maybe it lasts 10 minutes or so, usually 20 minutes if someone's really gone. But after like 5 minutes, he clears his throat and just looks at me. And he like leans in and looks me directly in the face with a smile and a tilted head and goes, "Are you happy now?"
Really?
And I knew exactly what he meant in the moment, but I tried to pretend like I didn't know because I had my mind blown. It's because I was like, oh man, I came here to blow your mind. And the universe just threw that back at me right in the face, like a baseball to the face. "Are you happy now?" And I didn't even give him time to process the experience. "What did you feel? Tell me,
Yeah.
what was going on?" And he goes, "I saw a white light and it came and it lasted for like 5 minutes. And maybe if you don't know this light exists, it can be useful so you can see it. But sadhu means something different. The sadhu is the final medicine," he said. He said, this light is 5 minutes, but the sadhu's light is always." And when he said that, I was just like, man, I have no idea what spirituality is. I thought I knew. I've been in India for 5 years at this point. I thought I knew. And I didn't even, I was blindfolded because I really understood the power of Sanatana Dharma in that moment. I could see it. It was like, and it's not like nothing happened, like some people say, like Neem Karoli Baba took and nothing happened. Obviously, he had an experience. And same with Bavani Baba had an experience, but they're just not wavered by the experience, They can sustain the energy, whereas for us, it's like, it's an energy going through us. I feel like maybe they already have that energy in them, or they can contain energies better than we can. But I did ask him, so I don't want to let the myth get out that he didn't feel anything. So I was like, "What did you actually experience? Don't tell me you didn't experience anything." And he said, "I sat on the sun and I saw everything."
That's so great. I love that. Although I will say, yeah, we have no idea.
We don't know. But Maharaji did say that sadhus knew about this experience in the mountains. So I assume he had some experience. But they don't undergo the preparations.
Yeah, right. Yeah, no idea.
Yeah.
Except for the reality of what we experience ourselves, right? And that's
for someone to just take that and just talk after, like to come back and like share a message for me after that,
Yeah,
it's very unusual and that's a very strong experience to break through that, just to prove someone a point, or I don't know what he was doing for me. But when I look back, I feel like so much of his moments were him doing these little things to me, but I didn't really fully realize it. Now that I look back, there's been like these little moments where it's like he was chiseling me or something, and I don't know, maybe I thought he was just being kind of mean or like Aghori style or something, but I can just see that he's playing hardball with me a little bit.
Well, you're taking him as a teacher to you. And
yeah, in some ways. Definitely no, there's a karmic thing here for sure.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And the universe provided this for you. Especially
I said, why? I said, why me? Why are we having this dance together?
Yeah.
And he looked at me and he said, why me? He said, I'm wondering why you're some YouTuber putting me on, so like, why is Shiva doing this for me? And I was like, oh, that's interesting. I didn't think you thought about it that way.
Yeah. But it is, grace.
It is.
If we're talking about faith, the only way it happens is grace. And this is how this whole denouement, first being with aghoris that were, what you see, what I've seen in India, except him, he's the only substantial being I ever met from that tradition, certainly. But, they're mostly taking on a role with like a job. You get food and you get fame and you get power, all of this. So, grace and faith go way together.
Faith
but
is it's just like the suntan after grace.
That's good. Good quote. Make a bumper sticker or a baseball cap. Oh, I wanted to bring something up, and it's another. I mean, we are going through extraordinary times right now. Some of it is mindful of back in that era when psychedelics happened, and people.
Yeah, same exact thing, really, right?
Yeah, but not as pernicious as this is. I mean, this is like an organized riot.
In which, what exactly?
Just in terms of the polarization, the us and them, the caring for only, power and money and all of it, and not caring for the environment, all of that, I mean, is so difficult. So we are going through a tremendous change. So I was just looking around for stuff before we got on, and something dropped out of a book where I had written this quote from Ram Dass, okay? And he said, in regards to change, is there a place to stand in relation to change where one is not frightened by it? Is there a place to stand in the presence of change where one can be with the changes, even enjoy the changes, work with the changes, and at the same moment cultivate equanimity, spaciousness, emptiness, awareness, and love? And I mean, that's a statement for all time. For,
like a martial arts.
Yeah, exactly. And but it's certainly something to share with people as we go through what we're going through, which is why, the whole community thing, the way, wasn't that nice in India at Krishnadasa's concert there?
Yeah, I love it.
I mean, all of this kind of one-pointedness. And then, of course,
they
know all the words because they're mostly Indian, and they're it's getting like, okay, it's great, 4,000 or 5,000 people singing Chalisa. I'd never heard that before. Hanuman Chalisa, everybody. So, the community aspect is so important to our.
I mean, that's why monks go live in monasteries. We have our own little black sheep version of that and chaotic version, but you can definitely see the power of satsang when you're in a place like that.
Yeah. I got another quote here from Anne Lamott. You know Anne Lamott, right?
I'm not sure that name.
Annie Lamott, the great. Really? She's been at the retreats. Maybe, but you haven't been there in a while, in Maui. So Annie Lamott is one of the, first of all, New York Times best-selling author, and just the most humorous and unique way of relating her thoughts through these books.
Sounds like a World War II name.
Annie Lamott.
Sounds like an old school name. Just kidding, Annie. I'm excited to check you out. Let's hear.
Yeah, no, you would love. I mean, some of her books are phenomenal. Anyhow, she wrote a book, Thoughts on Love, basically, called Somehow. Community is a body of people crying for one another, working together for a common cause, enjoying and overlooking, or grimly tolerating, each other's foibles. It's a rough and beautiful quilt, sewn of patches that don't seem to go together at all, and then do. Community means we're collaborating, means that you help my children, my old people, and I help yours. It means we are in this together. Most of us are perhaps a tiny bit self-absorbed and good at keeping out people who don't look, vote, or act like our friends. And that's very nice. But a good community includes all those other people and those of us at the edges. Welcomes are offered. Hey, come on into this circle. Yeah, you. You with your nose in the air, or a neck tattoo, a walker, or a rolls.
It was nice. You know what the shaman in Peru once told me is we sit in a circle because no one is in front or behind. We're all together.
Oh, really? Wow.
Mm-hmm. There's no front of the line in a circle.
There's some wonderful, the interconnectivity of everything. You know, somebody told me of people is wild. That one of our group, I'm not sure you know him, a young Indian man, Schwapnil. You know him? So he spent a lot of time in Peru, and he like you, he went and he sat with the shaman. They recognized him as somebody who could help, so they were teaching him to be a brujo or whatever. You know, he had to learn Spanish and so on and so forth.
Yeah, they taught me Spanish too.
Yeah, you speak a little Spanish?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, great. Anyhow, you know what happened to him in these ayahuasca journeys? So you get, I mean, you know this better, but you get a guide or two, you know, through the journey. And then he had this trip that whatever the guides were doing, it was all wrong. It wasn't good, whatever it was. Except then he had this third being. And the being actually told him, this is really wild, get Ram Dass's book, Miracle of Love, and have it translated into Spanish. That needs to happen. Okay? He did it. He went and he did it, and then he met me on a plane. Okay? We were together in New Mexico. No, we were both at the Taoist ashram, and he met me. We were traveling, and we didn't plan it. And he said, I got to sit you down. And he told me the story in much greater detail. And he had given Ram Dass a copy of it. And he said, but, you know, given me as the director of Love Serve, remember, could actually try and get it to happen, which we did. So this whole thing came out of this guy, this Indian guy. He wasn't even that into Hinduism, and he was Hindu, and he was Canadian. And, you know, you wouldn't have known nothing. And Maharaji, he found out it was Maharaji after because he saw a picture, you know, be here
like
now.
Maharaji telling me to remember in the mushroom, too.
Yeah. Or how did you meet Bavani Das? Yeah. I mean, somebody, and that Maharaji is not, you know, we keep saying that, the man in the blanket and, you know, this incredible body and all that, but it represents something beyond all of that. Yeah. And everybody has one of those echoes that they start to realize, okay, I am not separate. I am in a flow that is completely enveloping me in the womb of bliss, as Robert Thurman called, when you want to try, he said the definition of emptiness in the Tibetan Buddhist tradition is it as the womb of bliss. Most people, when they think and they hear about that right away, they go, okay, it's nihilism. Yeah, nothing. Mm-hmm. And Rob would go, there's nothing. There's no nothing.
Yeah.
And, so here we are.
Yeah. You know, when I was in the Aghori ashram, now in my head, this is the farthest away from Maharaji satsang I can be for the most part, as far as practices go. You know, love, serve, remember, I'm doing, you know, something different over here. But I was there and I was talking to this Aghori, And these are the white cloth, clean Aghoris, and they're giving me the whole thing. No, 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 this is wrong, because I was asking Bavani, why do they meditate on the bodies? They're trying to get power. And he goes, power is not something you get. It's something you control. These guys don't know what power is. What you're supposed to do is you're supposed to become a corpse yourself, that you sacrifice your thinkings, you sacrifice your life. That's the secret meaning of the shav sadhana, the corpse meditation. It's not these guys, they're getting caught in the pamphlet layer. There's a secret behind it. This is to keep the surface level people out. And so he didn't like to talk to me in the ashram because he didn't like to, I don't know, like he didn't want to take a guru kind of relationship. He didn't want it to appear like that in the temple. So he would kind of leave me alone in the temple for most of it until it was nighttime and we would go into the room and hang out and talk. But he didn't want to like ever be seen like looking like he's trying to teach me something. And he really still doesn't teach me nothing. He never gave me no practices or anything. He once just said, just treat everyone like they're your mother, even if they're a guy. That's basically the only practice he gave me. And so
Maharaji gave us the same practice, that.
Treat
right?
everyone like your mother?
Just a little bit of a variance that all women treat as your mother, your sister. Women are higher than great yogis, a pure woman. And
it works. And it's very simple.
Yeah.
You really treat people different when you look at them that way.
Yeah.
Yeah, just saying, like me and Bavani, he didn't talk to me much in the temples. So he would leave me with Ravendra, or what was his name? I can't remember the guy's name exactly. But there was another Aghori who took care of the temple, like the temple leader. And he would give me all kinds of very beautiful messages. No, Aghori means like being a baby, very sweet things like this. And he goes, all saints came here to Bindiachal. All saints come here. And then he starts listing all these saints. He goes, I don't know, Vivekananda, everyone comes here. Neem Karoli Baba built this Hanuman temple right there. I was like, wait, what? Neem Karoli Baba came here? I was like, I cannot escape him. I'm like in the dark side and he's still here. But there's a Hanuman temple right just walking distance from this Aghori ashram that was built for Maharaji. And just there on the on the outskirts watching over everything.
Wow. Yeah, no, we knew that he went to Vindhyachal. And he went there with Siddhima and Tuwari.
Well, I don't know the history about Vindhyachal so much. It seems like a very, I don't know, this magic spot.
Yeah, highest form of the goddess Durga is how I understand it. And when I say highest, I have no idea what the hell I'm talking about, by the way, except I love Durga. And, I had it with Siddhima. She was that. And for me, for everybody, basically.
Do you remember what I told you when we saw Siddhima for the first time?
No.
Let me tell you.
Okay.
And if you got to go, we can end on this if you have to. But so we were in Kenchi waiting for Siddhima. Maybe we were there for a week, and every day it was like, Siddhima, she's coming tomorrow. She's coming tomorrow. Okay, she's coming tomorrow. Okay, now a week goes by, and finally she shows up, and Siddhima, she's wearing all white. To the point it was like almost hard to look at her in the sun. And she's walking. She had these helpers, and she was walking. And when you guys introduced me to her, she was old at this point, so she wasn't talking or really doing anything. She was just sitting there. And I remember one time we walked up these stairs, and she was sitting on kind of like a roof or something, and Krishna Das came. And,
balcony.
Yeah, the balcony, and Krishna Das came, and he was singing a Govinda song. And this is the first I saw her move. Because she was always sitting so still and just silent, and she started to sway her hand back and forth and tap her foot. And it was so weird, just like Bavani, that moment where it was kind of like, it's like the air was vacuumed out of the room or something, It was, and afterwards, I told you, I was like, I don't know if this makes sense, but when I was looking at Siddhima, it was like she was a tamed lion, and as if any moment she could just let this roar out and we would all just be like shaking or turn to stone. And you go, and I didn't know, this is my first time in India. I don't know Durga. I don't know anything about Maharaji's relationship to Siddhima. And you go, that's so crazy because Maharaji used to call her Durga. And I didn't know anything about Durga. I just could look at her and just see it.
No.
I got a picture of her here somewhere.
I remember when this is not long before she left, died.
Only a few months. I think we were there
Yeah.
September, and she died in
Yeah.
December.
Yep, yeah, and that particular moment on that balcony with a bunch of people, and then we were leaving, and I went and to say goodbye, pranam, and you were behind me, and when we left, you said, by the way, when you were offering pranam, she totally opened up and smiled at you. And it was, I'll never forget that, just because it was the last moment, really. I did see her again, but, she was declining for sure. Well, she died a couple of months later. So, yeah, that was a beautiful moment.
It was beautiful. And it was beautiful to get to, see you guys also in that moment, to see someone that was a part of your whole journey,
Yeah, big
beautiful
part.
moment for me to get to see.
Yeah.
And do you have pictures or anything from that day? I would love to see stuff from there.
From that day in the balcony?
Yeah,
No.
I would love to see some videos or
Well,
pictures.
who knows? Maybe there
Someone
may
has
be.
to have something.
Yeah, Ramesh, maybe he was there. We shall look. Anyhow, this has been fun. It brought me back right into the middle of it all. Nice. I like to all those journeys you took. And by the way, people, you can see some of the videos and some of the material and places that Dakota went. Dakota from Earth, go to YouTube, but you'll give me some links so we can link up and then
YouTube.com, Dakota of Earth, the Flowerhead Show on Be Here Now Network, Dakota Wint, pretty much everything else.
Yeah. And the Flowerhead Show, everybody tune in,
Yeah, we've got a new episode coming out soon, 16th every month.
Yeah, definitely tune in. Go to Be Here Now Network.
You are in the next episode, so.
Oh, okay.
Perfect.
Flowerhead Show. Mm-hmm. Take a look, and amongst many other amazing teachers, from Ram Dass to Alan Watts, Jack Cornfield, on, and Krishnadas, on and on. And Mindrolling. Well, this is Mindrolling, and this is Mindrolling. Go to BeHereNowNetwork.com/mindrolling, and we will see you next week. And and go to check out Dakota. Okay, I mean, it's just wonderful stuff. He's I count him, very much as a younger brother from another planet. All right, we'll see you again. Bye bye, everybody.
See you.